Good morning, almost good afternoon. I'm Kirk Brown, Director of Communications for the City of Rocky Mount. Police Chief Robert Hassel will take a few of your questions. We want to keep this to around 15 minutes or so. Chief.
I guess I'll say still good morning, everyone. Thank you for staying after the council meeting, and I will make myself available for a period of time to answer any questions you may have as a follow-up to something I may have said during our special council meeting or something else you may want to ask. So we'll begin.
Chief, I know you don't want to go into every detail about your plan going into the federal meeting, but the federal task force that you are looking for, in your head, is that officers on the street from federal agencies or just investigators or resources? What do you actually want to bring from federal partners to this area to help fight crime?
You know, in addition to our task force officers, I'm looking for federal agents assigned to those federal agencies. Any software, technology, resources, funding, anything that they have to bear that we haven't already been receiving, I want to make sure that we have that conversation, open conversation, honest conversations about what our needs are here in Rocky Mount and how we can bring in a collaborative, partnership with all of those partners together to deal with some of our issues that we're recently seeing.
At this point, we have 10 homicides in the city, and we've already surpassed the number for last year entirely. Do we have an idea of why that is?
No, sir. I mean, I would just be throwing out something. Unfortunately, as you just said, we have had 10 this year. One homicide any year is one too many. I'm just, I feel my heart goes out to those family members who have lost a loved one. Also, my heart goes out to my staff and my men who have put their all of their efforts, all of their experience, all of their knowledge, and making sure that they do a thorough investigation on those homicides. Unfortunately, there were 10. I'm just thankful that my officers and staff in homicide, in our homicide unit and major crimes, have been able to at least solve 8 of those homicides. Which is a very decently high clearance rate. But again, one homicide is one too many. We're still working very hard on the remaining 2. And hopefully with the leads we're tracking down and persons of interest, we'll have some kind of successful conclusion in those in the near future.
What does the state of emergency for crime consist of, the one we just put in place from the council?
I think, like the mayor says, it's symbolic. I think for me, what I took from that is to make sure that the Rocky Mount Police Department, our area agencies who work with us, our local, state partners, our federal partners, we hear the message from our council, we hear the message from our citizens that we need to ensure that we're putting strategies and plans in place to deal with the concerns and the issues facing our city right now. As I said earlier in that conference, I may wear the uniform, I wear the badge, but I'm a person behind the badge. I understand the concern our citizens are feeling each and every time they hear of a shooting, each and every time a citizen is hurt, each and every time a citizen's life has unfortunately been taken. We feel that. My drive, my dedication is to make sure we do whatever we can to help deal with these issues and hopefully give our citizens some sense of calm and sense of peace, the best that we possibly can, the Rocky Mount Police Department. So that state of emergency to me was a calling, a cry, a rallying cry to all of our citizens to help partner and work with the Rocky Mount Police Department. It's a rallying cry from my officers and staff, my local partners, state and local, to make sure we all understand that we need to get together around the table to discuss how we're going to address this going forward.
And speaking of the people behind the badge, just what the tragedy that happened yesterday at Chili's, I'm sure a lot of people have been to Chili's once or twice before. It's a good restaurant to go to, but do the people feel safe here in Rocky Mount?
That's a question, I think the citizens will have to answer, but I will, as I listen, I think about, like I said earlier, you had a 15-year-old juvenile who was shot. He was not the intended target, but he was hit in a restaurant where families, citizens go to eat. It was unexpected. It happened, and an innocent person was hit. So is it on the minds of citizens? Yes. Is it on the mind of those who hear of it? Yes. Do they feel possibly there's an issue with these recent violent events? Yes. We see the issues that we have with these violent crimes over the last few weeks. We're dealing with that. We're addressing them the best that we can. We're putting our plans in place to make sure that we try to curtail these acts of violence we've seen in the recent weeks. So do they feel the city is safe? I feel overall our city is safe. I think these recent events, they're in our forefront of our minds. They happened. They are shocking. I know that, I feel that. But overall, do I feel like overwhelmingly our city is safe? Yes, I do feel that. As I said one time before, many of you may not know, I live in Rocky Mount. I am a citizen in Rocky Mount. I shop, I eat. My family and friends come to see and spend time with me here in Rocky Mount. But do we have some recent concerns? Yes, we do. That does not mean what I'm saying that I feel we're safe. Yes, we are. But do we have concerns and issues to deal with? We do, and we're going to do that to the best of our abilities.
Have there been any of the 8 solved cases? Have there been any commonality threads between them? This is connected to that one?
No, sir. Of the 8 and of the 10, there has been no nexus or connection between each of them. Those homicides to this point has been made to us. They all appear to be at random and separate and apart.
And the state of emergency is in effect right now, and how long do you think it's going to stay in place?
I can't answer that, but I feel like until we start seeing a reduced level of these incidents, I think until we start seeing the shootings decrease and until we start seeing some of these other violent crimes decrease, I think that's going to be at the forefront. And I think we're going to keep. Yes, sir. So our mayor will speak to that. Let me be quiet.
Before you speak to that, I've been over here since 5 o'clock this morning. I've been working at Rocky Mount for 35 years. Been a life member of the Rocky Mount branch NAACP. And so I'm not unfamiliar with this, but when you say is Rocky Mount safe, I feel safe coming to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. Over here all day, I shop over here. I was here yesterday. I left, went home, came back yesterday evening, and seen the police cars going to Chile. And like I said, I feel safe, but I want to see is Rocky Mount, Nash, and Edgecombe sheriff officers do more proactive, being in the neighborhood, stopping traffic. I see you all stopping traffic when coming into Rocky Mount at the bypass 64 and old 64. But I would love to see it out in the community in different neighborhoods, stopping cars, checking them out, and you probably find guns and drugs and all that. So I would like to see more of that. I got a good rapport with the National Edgecombe County Sheriff Office. Starting one with you. But I think this needs to be more proactive stuff going on with inside these neighborhoods. Rocky Mount is safe, and I think the media and these social media sites is the ones pumping it up. Because, like you said, it's that random. People are not just. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna shut it down. I got a daughter living in Maryland, and when the guys, the dad and the son, was shooting people at random, I stopped going around to get my daughter because I was going to be in the line of fire if it was to happen. I don't feel that in Rocky Mount. I know a lot of people here, got a lot of family here, and I think Rocky Mount is safe. This is where I got to shop at. We don't have any stores in Edgecombe County. So I'm over here. I spent most of my life over here. 35 years, been at Honeywell 35 years. So Rocky Mount is safe. I'll say that myself. Like I said, I just want to see more collaboration with you guys.
Well,
Certain neighborhoods, because I've seen it working out in the county, Princefield, places, and they're stopping cars, getting good, drugs, and all that.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for the question. We make sure, like with our enhanced focus patrols that we just recently started, looking at where we're having crime issues and making sure that we put focused attention to high visibility patrols in those areas. I expect my commanders and my staff to be very proactive, be visible, not just on the main thoroughfares in our city, but also the variety of our neighborhoods and communities throughout our city. So I will make sure I speak with my commanders to ensure that we are doing that as much as we possibly can to be more visible in our neighborhoods.
Excuse me,
Mayor, I'm sorry.
So I think the question was about the state of emergency. And so I think really what we need to take home from that is it's largely symbolic. States of emergency are generally declared to provide access to federal and or state funds during some sort of natural disaster. In this particular case, it's just to be in support of our chief of police. And if he were to recommend to me a curfew, if he were to recommend to me any other action that we need to maybe help him during this process, I'm clearly available to do that. I'm willing to do that. And that's really what the state of emergency is designed to illustrate.
Mayor, in your first statement yesterday about gun violence, you said that because the shootings seemed to be drug and gang related and targeted, that you felt that the public was not at risk. In light of the events of last night and the state of emergency, has that position changed?
I still feel like the public's not at risk. You know, I can only take advice from our professionals, that'd be the chief. I feel safe in the community. I believe what happened last night at Chili's was despicable and was difficult, and my heart goes out to everybody involved in that, particularly the innocent victim in that case, who was an employee of Chili's.
I want to say one last thing. I also would
Please
like
Photoshop me.
would also like for you to, we keep talking about overall, but I think until we start dealing with it case by case, get to the root cause and analysis, nothing will get done. People always adding more to the story. We're dealing today with the most recent shooting.
That's right.
People bring up drugs and all that. I know all that goes together.
Sure.
But we gotta start somewhere to do a root cause.
Right. Well, and I think you saw that in a lot of the discussion the council were having. You know, it's not just as simple as an item. Nothing is isolated. And so I think you were seeing a lot of discussion about how do we kind of integrate these different initiatives and maybe even focus on prevention. And I think that'll be something that we'll try to do. I don't know that the city is 100% responsible for that, but I think what you should be hearing is that it's a reach out to the community as a whole. If you have tools that help us combat this, please bring it to the table and let's have that conversation. Okay, that it? Thanks, guys.
Thanks, all of you, for coming. I want to let you know the police department put out a couple press releases this morning. One about a incident involving some shots that were fired on Casey Lane, and then we've identified a suspect in the Sunset Avenue homicide. You guys should all have those. We will continue to put out information about what's been going on, and we appreciate you all for coming. Thank you.